Well, so, what time is it?
It's train time.
Coming to you after this short intro.
In compliance with COPPA, this video is not for children under the age of 14. Viewer discretion is advised. Sponsored by Canadian Model Railroad.ca and by donations from patrons like you. Remember to subscribe and click the bells so you can be advised when a new show is uploaded.
Well, welcome. It's train time. What a better way to start your Saturday morning other than by watching It's Train Time.
It's a new decade and a new show on our channel. So, what's coming up?
Well, we got a very good show for you coming up. Being new, I guess we'll start with a little bit of housekeeping so that you understand what our show is all about.
And how you can participate. Plus, producers' policies on COPPA and the FTC.
Yeah, and also the answer on the models that appear on the Facebook group. So we'll give you the answer. Only two guys had it so far.
We will also be featuring a video that was sent in to us from Jason Wood on his layout, and that's from Australia. So welcome to that.
That is a beautiful, beautiful layout that he's building there. We'll also have an overview of the Canadian Model Railroad layout.
We will also be featuring some photographs that were sent in all the way from Portugal by Manuel Machado on his layout.
And don't forget a special project, how-to project.
Jason's Lake Wilderness Report.
Oh yeah, that was a good time, and you will have a good time watching that how-to about that specific project. And I guess we'll be finishing the show with our visit in Portage, Prairie.
Yes, we had a very nice visit out in Portage, Prairie.
So as you can see, that would be a pretty nice full show that you have there. We encourage you to subscribe, and we encourage you to comment below, and that way we'll be able to direct our show.
Remember to subscribe and click the bells so you can be advised when a new show is uploaded.
All right, I think it's a little time for the housekeeping. As far as the format, our format for the video would be a section where it's video podcasts like today, reading and many different subjects. And the other part would be the how-to part. So, because we're debuting in our YouTube channel, we'll have one video podcast called The Show, like today, once a month in the middle of the month, always on a Saturday morning. And we'll have one how-to program that will come out at the end of the month, early month, depending how the month is finishing, where it will be only how-to program. That will be the format. The aim and the goal of that also is to feature what we're doing in our layout, the Canadian Model Railroad layout. So, a lot of people, Peter, have expressed, a lot of creators, I might say, have expressed some concern in regard to the new regulations by YouTube in regard to COPPA and the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission down in the state, and COPPA is the Children Protections for videos, online video protection, and so on. In our regards, we discussed that with our producers quite a great length, and we watched the video of YouTubes and read the materials and so on, and I don't think it's any point of concern either, because the video that we're producing are for 14 plus, you know. Though that our producer went a little step further, and he tell us, well, let's have a disclaimer at the start during our intro that it's in regulations, in cooperation with COPPA and the FTC. This video is not for any children under the age of 14. Viewer discretion is advised. I think it's a good thing to do. Our producer wants to be safe on that aspect, and we don't want to have any strike from YouTube on our videos. So we cannot control who's viewing the program, but we certainly can control the content. So we have to talk about COPPA, and that's about the only time we'll be talking about it.
And then, as most modelers, we know that this is not a children activity. It's a lot of money tied up in what we do as modelers, so it's definitely not children.
Oh, it's not toys, it's models. And when you look, when you buy models and even kits and so on, the total majority, 99.9%, tell you right there in the box, 14 plus. So all our show is for 14 plus.
Now, so how can the viewing public participate in our show?
Oh, in many ways.
Well, we look forward to you posting on Facebook, Railroad on Facebook group. You can send in your comments to this show if you subscribe and click the little bell. We look forward to comments, videos on the Canadian Model Railroad Facebook group. There are Canadian Model Railroad.ca is our sponsor. So we also have the website you can go and look at and post comments on as well. So please send us your comment on both this show, Facebook group, Canadian Model Railroad, and the website, CanadianModelRailroad.ca.
Well, yeah, it worked very easily. In each of our videos that we upload from the series, right below, you got the comments. Leave comments. It can be positive comments, could be negative comments. To us, it's no negative comments per se. All comments are good because that gives us direction on what you, the viewers, want to see and how you want to see it. Definitely, we encourage you, click the subscribe button and click the bell so you know when we upload new videos. On the Canadian Model Railroad web page, it's a little bit more difficult, you will say, because a lot of people don't like to do it this way, but you have to go into the contact us and you send us an email and we will be answering your email, like we will be answering your comments, because your comments that you will leave below or on the website or even on the Canadian Model Railroad Facebook group, those comments we read and we respond. And that will bring us to a show where we'll have a Q&A show with question and answer about your comment on the question or commenting on your comment and so on.
Yeah, definitely send us your questions as well, because we will do everything that we can to answer those questions, either by contacting other people in the modeling hobby or on our own expertise. So,
well, it's also, Peter, that another way for them to really participate and be featured because we want to feature your work as much as yours. When you post on the Canadian Model Railroad Facebook group page, and you let us know by a personal message that those photos you did like to see them in our program, be assured that we will feature them. Somebody, Peter or myself, will send you a response on your PM, giving you the instruction on how to proceed, and we'll be featuring your stuff. So it's like when you answer questions on the Facebook group, we take those, we accumulate them, and then we will be answering them. So very important, if you use Facebook a lot, go in there and leave us your material. And if you have video, you can send the video via the personal message. We just send them raw. We do the editing on this side in here, and all the copyright will apply as much for us as for you.
Remember to subscribe and click the bells so you can be advised when a new show is uploaded.
Anybody that's been following the Facebook group of Canadian Model Railroad, we had a question on there that Joe posed. There was a model put on Facebook for you to try and figure out what the scratch built model was.
Well, matter of fact, I got the picture on B-roll right now. The same pictures that were on the Facebook group. And the answer to that is a spray boot for painting locomotive.
It's made of a styrene and a styrene strips. The two air makeup on the tops are made from Walter's air conditioners for a rooftop. The balance is scratch built. It contains two strip of 13 LED, one on each side and in angles, connected to a 12 volts. The spray boot is installed inside of the back shop, which is the Angus shop in our layout. The back shop in this case serve as the paint shop and the preps, which is the two first bay. And when you look at the building and the complex in there, you will realize that behind the back shop is or Angus car shop. All the inside is illuminated and details. All the details and the modification of the models have been done in the CMR studio in Winnipeg, Manitoba. There's another view of the complex. All details are made from material that we have in our scrapbooks or 3D printing. And here you can see the exhaust system for the spray boot, which is the intake of air and the exhaust of the fume. I hope you enjoyed this build of the spray boot and back shop.
Talking about this, our layout CMR, we have to mention that we actually go from Nova Scotia through New Brunswick. We have the Montreal Yards, Sudbury, we go through Thunder Bay, Winnipeg, the Prairies, Alberta, and the Rockies, and end up, after coming through the Rockies, we're back in the Montreal Yards.
The layout is an all around points, and the layout but is built so that we can operate as many industries that would be on that layout. We run many different type of consists in there.
We run CP Rail, we run CN, BC Rail, there's some BNSF. I also have some PGE, it's pre-BC Rail, and some Ontario Northland. So there's quite a variety of railroads.
As we do some operating for running the train, the era that the layout is based on is really from late 80s till now. But when you do operation, depending on what kind of train will be running that day, it could drop into the 60s and that type. So depending what we run, so you can see on our layout at time maybe some CP that has the old color.
Yes, because I run the old colors in CP, and Joe runs the modern stuff.
So you can see both of them really. The layout itself has a few scenes already that are there, but each scene that goes into that layout have a story.
Yes, we try to have a story behind each of the scenes. Nova Scotia, we have Jean Cove, named after your mom.
Yeah, and that's the story of the famous movie, The Perfect Storm. We have another part that we're working on right now, which is the Burton Falls, which is in honor of a veteran that went the Second World War and never came back, which was part of our family. We got the Cossette Gorge, that is in homage of Peter's wife, late wife, and his mother-in-law. That is there, and that is the first scene that you see when you come up to the layout, but etc., etc. And you get a segment that will be coming in that not only will show you what we have been doing, but will tell you also the story of that layout, of that scene in particular. We have 44 feet of Rocky Mountains to build, and that would be a very interesting scenes to see. The Coquihalla will be very well represented, but also it will represent a show that is on TV. It's called Highway Through Hell, you know, with Jamie Davis and the big green beast, you know,
Al Quiring.
That Al Quiring has. So that would be there. So as many scenes, some other scenes that would be there that we'll be talking about it a little later when we get into the how-to. So let's not forget that the design in itself is a freelance, but has prototypical locomotive and stock running on it, and a lot of the industries in some point are also prototypicals, but each building on that layout are modified, and each building have electrical.
And our railway, once we get going, services a number of industries. We have, as you go through Winnipeg, we have a large grain terminal and flour mill,
Yeah.
as featured items. We also we'll have a steel mill in the Thunder Bay area.
And the big grain terminal that is beside the Superior Lakes with the waterfront.
With the lake freighters. We also have on the Rockies, in the short line portion, there's logging on the upper level in the Rockies.
Yeah, that's where the Shea and the Climax and some small diesel would be running.
So there's a variety of industries that we can run operations on the layout. We also have a passenger service to Jan Cove on the short line, and transcontinental passenger service. So as we go along, we should have quite a variety of operations going on. There's a lot of work to be done, a lot of scenery to build, but that's all part of the fun.
Well, I think the viewer being interested to know what exactly, who is involved in there. You know, it's not a club, it's a private layout, but the owner of the layout doesn't do it just on his own.
No, there's actually 4 of us that are working on it.
Yep.
Myself, Peter, Joe next to me. It's the layout is actually his layout at his place, and we have our track gang guys, Murray and Tony, have done a lot of track work on it for us. So there's the 4 of us that are doing the work on it, and moving along into the future and building scenery. And
but everybody really, Peter, has some very special skill. If you look on the background of each one of us, you take for example Tony is the only guy in the 4 of us that has worked on a real train, as he was a conductor or brakeman in the Cascade subdivision in the Rockies way back. He is an excellent modeler. He loves to do sceneries, does fantastic track work also. And then we have Murray, which his background is industrial engineering, so you can imagine when we do the track and you work on the track, they got to be just right. He's also doing some modeling, but I think what he does best is to do the cars and to do locomotives, so they are prototypicals. As far as Peter is concerned, the co-host in here, you have a master modeler in there as far as scenery is concerned, you know. And me, well, I do a little bit of everything. And
you do a lot of scratch building.
Some. Sometimes I do scratch building because I got no other choice, but I like to work with what is around me and what is on the scrap box.
Joe also does kit bashing quite well. As we go through the program later on, we'll be seeing a lot of his work. The spray booth that we had on Facebook for the question was one of his works of art, scratch-built spray booth.
Well, that I thought was a needed things to be done, because a lot of people do the inside of their industries, but they just put a bit of this, a bit of that. I kind of like to make the inside of the building that would be view kind of real, so that the realism is there. Like you do with the scenery. When you do scenery, you like to have it real.
Yes.
Right? So, yeah, I dabble a little bit on scenery myself, you know, but you learn from the master.
Remember to subscribe and click the bells so you can be advised when a new show is uploaded.
Well, we have another submissions that been done to us from Manuel Machado. He's from Portugal. He has an HO layout that is 2.5 meters by 1.5 meters, and he's working right now on having that layout enlarged for 3 meters by 2 meters. He started to model in 1974 with airplane, motorcycle, and car, like many of us have done. Then he went to doing army figures, 2 different scales. Did model railroads since 1980 with a layout that was 4 feet by 8 feet at the time. His first train was a Lemma, The house kit were mainly Elgin, Fallers, and Volmer in HO scale. So in 2015, he started to restore all the element of his layouts and create a new layout, the one that I described a little earlier. And he put some marking digital, and gradually from there making all the base structures in wood and all the details that surround the sceneries. This is the part that Manuel really liked to work at. Manuel has done a lot of electrical in his buildings, and as you will see in his segment, it does some pretty convincing scenes, that are pretty realistic. He's not close to any hobby shop. He's about 300 kilometers to a hobby shop for where he lives in Portugal, which is Portimao, Portugal. I hope I pronounce this right. And so it's a lot of things that he does with material that is around him and around his house and so on and so on. So I hope you enjoy it. He's got many different techniques, a good experience, a variety, a medium that he used. He learned by video tutorials and suggestions from others. In the last 5 years, he has achieved what we see now and claim it's far from being finished. So enjoy a few of the submissions of Manuel Machado.
Remember to subscribe and click the bells so you can be advised when a new show is uploaded.
Okay, that was very interesting, and we'd like to thank Manuel for his submission.
The funny part on that is, if you notice, the two contributions that you had for this show today, one was from Australia and the other one from Portugal. And we're a Canadian show.
In November, we had the opportunity to go and visit the Portage Prairie Club. Part of the reason for going out there was that we had a little delivery to make. When we were part of a club in Selkirk, Manitoba, We were given an N-scale English layout that a doctor had made. He practiced, I think, some of his suturing skills on some of the fence lines, but he had passed away and his family had donated it to our Selkirk Model Club. And after the club dissolved in
That was 2013.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the club dissolved in 2016.
No, 13.
13?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we got rid of the assets by 2016.
Right.
And we had these English N-scale layout still in our possession in storage, trying to find a home for it. Well, we did find a home. We donated it to the Portage Prairie Club, and they were certainly glad to have it as part of their club out in Portage in the old CP station.
Well, the reconforting part of the whole story in there is that layout will have a long life for a long time, being in Portage, and that's really what we were looking after. Instead of being in the basement of somebody and being destroyed or end up at the dump after a while, that layout will be looked after now, and will become part of the history, that we had in Selkirk as a Selkirk Model Railroad Associations, and now it would be the Portage Club. So the two are tying together very well, and Portage was absolutely delighted to take it, and they love it, and they already start to do a lot more work on it as far as the cleanup of the layout and so on. After 3 years of storage, you need a little bit of clean out on your layout.
Yes, I think the people that were storing it for us, their cat decided to visit the layout because we found cat footprints across the layout in the dust. So yes, it was good to find a good home for it. And like we said, Portage certainly was glad to receive it and make it part of their club. So,
well, at the same time we were there, Peter took the time to have a little bit of rolling a little bit of video of around the club of Portage La Prairie, which we'll show you right now. And right after that, you will have an interview of Peter with the vice president of the club of Portage La Prairie, which is Guy Gauthier. So after the interview, we'll be closing the show. So enjoy these two videos, and we'll be back in a minute.
okay, we'll see you after.
Remember to subscribe and click the bells so you can be advised when a new show is uploaded.
We're at the Portage La Prairie Model Railroad Club. They're situated in the old CP station. Just panning across to see what the interior looks like. Today, November 2nd, we delivered the British N-scale layout to the Portage Club so that they could make it part of their club layouts. That's the British layout there. And this club was very fortunate. A number of years ago, October 2002, the CP station was burned in a fire, and they were able to with the help of friends of the CP station, take over the CP station for their club layouts. This is their HO scale traveling layout, and in the far back they have O scale and N scale. The N scale British layout that was donated to them by the Selkirk Club will be situated in the in the station as part of their collection now. We're very pleased that we were able to donate it and find a home for the British N scale. It's been sitting in storage for a number of years, and now has a home, hopefully on a permanent basis. As I pan back, again we see the British N scale layout donated from the Selkirk Club. This being our last asset of the club. We come back around to the fireplace, and as you can see, there are pictures of the fire and interior of the station. Like I said earlier, I'm very fortunate that they were able to obtain the CP station from CPR, who were going to demolish it after the fire. And so model railroading continues with the help of friends. Very interesting visit here today, and certainly we're happy that our British layout that had been donated to the Selkirk Club a number of years ago has now found a new home.
Welcome back to It's Train Time. I'm here with Guy at the Portage Prairie Model Railroad Club. We're here today. We donated the British N-scale layout to the club from the Selkirk Model Railroad Association, and now we're going to talk to Guy a little bit about the club and how they came to be in the CP station here. So Guy, how long have you been in this station?
Well, they started working on the station around 2003. A group got together, and actually I can't tell you the actual date that we started to work on the station, but that was the beginning of the planning. We took over the station, a group of people from the community. We started to restore it because there was a fire previously, and then we started working on it and been working on it since. And there's still lots of work to do on it, but we've come a long way. We have now a public permit to open up to the public. The building's been verified, and we're in the actually east end, which has been all redone, brought back to the time that they were built. The club itself was kind of started about 10 so years ago, the actual Model Railroad Club. But members of the club were also members of the Heritage Society, and so we kind of got together, and that's where we developed it, that they gave us an opportunity to have our model layouts here, and we gave them the labor to refinish the building, everything else and that, and we've been working together as a group because I think we all have that love for trains. So, and that's been quite a while now, hanging around the station.
My understanding was that after the fire, that CP actually wanted to demolish the train station. So your heritage group and Model Train Club really got together and saved the heritage building.
Yeah, there was discussion though. I think CPR had to come up with a solution to the problem because of the fire and that. And I think they were looking at, that was one of the options they were looking at. I think what they really hoped for, and which did happen, was the group concerned citizens from the city of Portage would step up forward and take over the building and try to restore it as a heritage building and that. And we were fortunate. There was people that did come forward and did help, and then got it started, and now the ball's still rolling and we're still going.
Well, from the point of view of the demised Selkirk Model Railroad Club,
We're certainly happy that you've taken on the British N-scale layout and given it a home here in Portage. We certainly wish you all the best and a good future in model railroading, and I'd like to thank you for spending this little bit of time and giving us a history on your club building, and I'd like to thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure on our behalf to accept the N-scale. It's really a beautiful layout, and it'll make a great addition to our model layouts we have here. And we hope to see you guys come back again, because as we say, it's a work in progress. And on the east end of the station, where the Model Railroad Club will be stationed there in the future, we're working on there. And you will see the change in progress as time goes on. So come back and see us in a year or so, and you'll see how we're doing, and probably be something more exciting to look at.
Certainly look forward to it, and I think we will be back to follow up on your progress in your endeavors here. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a nice day.
Remember to subscribe and click the bells so you can be advised when a new show is uploaded.
Well, the upcoming show will features the layout of next club members of Selkirk, Lloyd Smith from Winnipeg.
Yes, we were fortunate enough, Joe bumped into him, or
He come and visit us in here.
He contacted Joe and invited us to come and do some video of his layout in Winnipeg. Lloyd, you said, is now what, 85?
86.
86.
Yeah, 86 years old. He was the oldest member of the club, and has done a beautiful layout. I saw it before. We'll also have some videos of a good friend of ours, John Longhurst, that will come from time to time. But on the next show is Lloyd Smith will be features, and later on
in a future show we're going to have Barb Lang. She's the author of two books on railroad. I think she has more than 2 books, but the 2 in particular is this one, Through the Window of a Train, is one of hers, and Memories of the Moonlight Special and Grand Beach Train are the 2 that are particular of interest to us. And so we'll be having
she will be coming in studio probably for the June or July show. She will be with us here in studio. And talking about the Grand Beach book that you got in there, one of the features that will be in the July show would be the diorama, interactive diorama that Peter, myself, and a couple other guys have built on commissions for the Heritage Museum of Grammary. That would be an interesting layout for you to see, because everything on that has been scratch built.
And it depicts July 1925, when the hotel was under construction and CN was still renting out space on sleeper cars that were parked on the siding. So
if I'm not mistaken, Peter, we have been told that this year's alone they had over 5,000 visitors from around the world.
Yeah, they've had huge numbers go through the center up there at Grand Marais, and we've had comments back how much they enjoyed the diorama. So that'll be featured in a later show in July.
We installed that diorama there in 2013, in the summer of 2013, and from that day on they had 2,000 a year, 3, and it kept growing up as far as number of people visiting that museum and going to that layout. They tell us that it always been the place where the people want to go first. So that's good for us. We're very happy that they like it. Then definitely we'll have all update on how to project, or letting you know what would be coming up in the how to project and so on. We remind you folks, please leave comments. That will give us the direction that we have to go. We need your help in there. We need your submissions.
We'd like you to remember to subscribe, click on the bell, and you'll be notified of any videos that are coming out. And let us know what you think. Send us your comments.
Comments are very important.
We want to be able to base the show on what items the viewing public like, so your comments are going to help guide us in that direction. So I think with that we can say,
Well, till next time, I'm Joe.
and I'm Peter,
and we'll see you.
It's
at
train
train time.